What's up, everybody? My name is Kimball. Welcome to the Kickbox Podcast. This is a little bit of an unusual video compared to my usual content. Of course, Glory 94 just happened, and I just had to share my thoughts with you guys because a lot of stuff happened. It was an amazing event, even though the headliner changed. Of course, originally Bahram Rajabzadeh would have faced Stefan Latescu, but because of Plazibat pulling out of Glory 95, Levy had no opponent, so they decided we need a big one, and that's of course Bahram Rajabzadeh. So that meant they had to find a new opponent for Latescu, and they found Jem Caceres, and holy crap, he delivered. I mean, honestly, at first I was like, this isn't really a headline kind of fight, but the fight went over so fast, it was explosive, it was insane. I mean, Jem Caceres just came out of nothing and he dropped Stefan Latescu with a liver punch. It was crazy, man. I mean, I think Nicky Holtzken would have been proud because that was a picture-perfect liver punch. I think if you look at this card, even looking at this weight class, light heavyweight, it's really interesting. With Caceres winning from Latescu, he moved up in the rankings and he is solidifying himself as a very good light heavyweight fighter to be looking out for. Originally, he was supposed to fight Mori Kroma, who had fight on this card as well. Because of the replacement, Caceres had to go to the headliner. Obviously, they had to find another opponent for him as well. And they found an opponent in Mohamed Amin, who is, of course, been on a little bit of a losing streak. When he came into the fight, he was brought in as a late notice replacement. So with a little, with a 4 losing streak, coming in as a late replacement against one of the biggest upcoming talents in light heavyweight, all odds were against him. And unfortunately, for Mohamed Amin, he lost again. And to be fair, it's a spectacular knockout by Kroma, but I kind of feel bad for the guy, man. I think they should have given him a fight to be able to prepare in a fall camp, or maybe just go back to the drawing board, maybe go to another organization to build up a winning streak again, and then maybe come back to Glory. Anyway, this fight was still amazing. I mean, Kroma, he shined. He is for me, he is the biggest talent in light heavyweight at this moment, together with Jem Caceres, obviously. I mean, he just felt like he was a Remy Bonjeski kind of fighter. A lot of kicks, jumping knees. Man, this division is so much fun. I mean, it was apparent when, of course, the Glory Heavyweight Grand Prix was going on and everyone was very excited. Well, don't get me wrong, it was fun. It really was entertaining. But when the Glory Light Heavyweight Grand Prix came on, it was amazing. Almost all fights ended in knockouts. This division has speed, it has power, explosiveness, characters, which is very important. I mean, you can put on fights, but if there's no way of promoting them, it's maybe not boring, but it does help. And I think the light heavyweight division just is delivering fight after fight. So I'm really looking forward for what is next. Maybe these two could be having a fight against each other. I mean, Kroma and Jem Caceres. Personally, I kind of want to wait before that happens. I want to build these two guys up into the light heavyweight division to be able to individually maybe challenge for the belt, and in the future they might be able to fight each other. So it's great, man. I'm really happy that this division is flourishing, especially if you remember a few years ago, this was maybe the worst division that Glory had. So I'm really happy. Of course, there's more than just light heavyweights. If we're talking about what, in my opinion, was who had the best performance as a debutant in this event, that probably was Andre Santos. The Portuguese guy, he trains at SB Gym. He's really a huge talent in the featherweight division. He just walked over his opponent with just kicks, knees, punches, explosiveness, eventually knocking him out. He's just a force to be reckoned with. And I've said it before and I will say it again, featherweight is probably the best division in kickboxing worldwide. I mean, I'm not necessarily saying it's the best in Glory. To be honest, in my opinion, is probably welterweight. It is one of the best worldwide. If you look at Rise, the best competitors are fighting there. They're fighting in Glory. There are some of them fighting in K1. Some of them are even fighting in one championship. Worldwide, this is probably the most entertaining division. And I can't wait for December because Glory and Rise, obviously, a lot of people already know this, they're gonna collaborate and they're gonna organize a Glory X Rise Grand Prix 8-man, one-night tournament in the 65 kg division. It's just insane, man. I can't wait. And talking about featherweights, this event, there was another featherweight fight. A fight between Berjan Peposhi and obviously the last-minute replacement fighter Ayub Buras. Originally, Jan Kava would have been fighting Berjan Peposhi. Didn't happen, so this guy was brought in. Buras, actually, he's kind of a small guy, not necessarily for the division, but he is not a very big guy. He's like, I think, 7 centimeters shorter than Peposhi. He looked a little bit more small, but he was really fighting all out of his heart, man. He was really impressing me in this fight, especially on a last-minute replacement. I mean, he did very well. But Peposhi is great. He's been on I think a 3-5 winning streak right now. I wouldn't be surprised if Glory would be giving him a title shot. But with the tournament coming up, I wouldn't even mind if that is not happening and that he's just going to be fighting another time this year and later in the year going to be entering the Grand Prix. That would be amazing, man. Again, such a fun division, such fun fighters, man. If you look at other fights on this fight card, obviously one of the fights I have to talk about was the fight between Younes, Smaili and James Condé. Both are so good. Both are very talented. I think Younes Smaili has a lot of fans in the Netherlands, which helped. I mean, in the crowd, it's very apparent. The crowd was just going crazy for this guy. And even though it's in Belgium, so many people were cheering for him. And James Condé, he's a French guy. He's doing very good. I mean, he originally came into Glory with an undefeated record. He went to Japan, fought Kaito, was defeated, was also a late notice fight, but still he's a great talent, and now he came into Glory again, fought another big talent. He didn't win, but he did put on a great fight, and this is a guy I would like to see more often. Both I want to see more often. And to be honest, originally, well, let me put it like this. These guys are originally 70 kg fighters, but Glory obviously has put this division on hold, which meant like some of these 70 kg fighters, they're pushing them to go up in weight to welterweight. So this fight took place around 74.5 kg, and I was like, is this really what we wanted? Honestly, if it was up to me, I would just say, instead of putting all those catchweight fights, just bring back the 70 kg division. Even though Tijani Bestari is going up in welterweight, I mean, he's the current lightweight champion. Just bring the division back. Let other people fight for the belt, or maybe just do some kind of tournament to figure out who's the best. I don't know, but the 70 kg division historically is just one of the best. And it pains me in my heart that it isn't flourishing in Glory anymore. Of course, K1 is doing a great job putting on 70 kg fights. I mean, they just had the K1 World Max tournament with Stoyan Koprivlensky coming on top. And with Chingiz Alazov, the One Championship champion, has decided to part ways with One Championship. There are some rumors that he might want to go to K1. Well, this division is still flourishing worldwide, but I think Glory should have this division as well. It's just one of the most fun, and especially with all those fighters who were originally a 70 kg fighter that are moving up in weight without a real clear reason. I think just bring back the division. And also, talking about Younes Smaili, originally he was supposed to fight Tayfun Ozcan in Fusion. Of course, they were both signed to Glory, so that fight never happened. Now they're both in a winning column in Glory. Tayfun Ozcan actually challenged Smaili to be fighting on Glory 96, 12th of October, and I think that's a really great fight to make. But I don't want to see this on a catchweight fight. I don't think I want to see this on welterweight. I want to see this on 70 kg lightweight. I want to see these guys perform to the best abilities they can, and I believe that's 70 kg. So in my opinion, of course, I don't work for Glory, and I'm not sure if Glory even listens to or watches my content, but I think, yeah, if I were in their shoes, just start this division back up. Talking about this division, on this very card, there were multiple catchweight fights that should have been 70 kg. I mean, El Hamouchi defeated Hambarian. That should have been a 70 kg fight. In the main card, there was a fight between Angelo Volpe and Youssef Bouganem. It was a very entertaining fight. I mean, these guys, they should deserve to be in a division where there's a future, where there's a possibility to fight for a belt. And at this point, there is no future. So I'm actually asking myself, Why are these fights being created? Is this a next step to go to welterweight, or is Glory still not sure what they wanted to do? I actually spoke with my good friend Bjarne. He's obviously a writer for Beyond Kickboxing, Warrior Code, and he does some cool stuff for Main Event. In my conversation with Bjarne, we talked about that Glory sometimes sticks to a plan just for the sake of sticking to the plan, even though the fans are screaming like, nah, this, well, you tried, but it's probably better to do it this way or that way. I mean, obviously not everybody's right, but I think if you look at the product, if you look at this division, it's just one of the best, and I think it deserves to be a spot between the other divisions. There was a welterweight fight on this fight card, a fight between the Dutch prospect. Well, I'm not sure if we can still say prospect because he has fought the biggest names of the division. We're obviously talking about Jay Overmeer. He defeated his opponent, the very talented Ismail Uzni. This was such a fun fight, so competitive, very entertaining, strikes back to back. Unfortunately, the fight had to be stopped early because of an injury on the side of Uzni. That meant that Jay Overmeer got the decision, well, not the decision, he got the victory. And for him, it was a kind of a relief because he has lost 3 fights in a row. He got defeated by Smaili, Chico Quasi, he got defeated by Theodor Ristov. All 3 are top 5 fighters, so it's not a shame, but it sucks to be losing. Well, if you think about it, this event is kind of a redemption kind of event because there were multiple fighters who had some serious losses, like maybe 1, 2, some had 3 losses, and a lot of these fighters got their redemption. So in that regard, it's fun to see that some fighters who have been were upcoming talents had some big losses and now are bouncing back. And talking about that, we have to talk about Serkan Ozcaglayan. Obviously, the Turkish fighter had been on a 3-fight losing streak. This time at Glory 94, he had the opportunity to face the upcoming talent Jente, Nnamadim, and he just destroyed Nnamadim. He came like he was determined to win because he had some serious losses, and this was the time to shine, to show that he's still one of the best, and he showed that. I mean, Nnamadim, yeah, he lost kind of badly, but he's still a very big talent. He's a fighter who came from welterweight up to middleweight, had some success in Infusion and came with a lot of confidence, but he was just not strong enough to defeat Ozcaglayan. So for Ozcaglayan, I think it's great for him to be back in the winning column. Nevertheless, I still want to see Nnamadim back. Obviously, he's the kind of guy that is necessary to build an audience in Belgium. And I think that's a reason also to see him back. Not just because he's good, but he has got a fan base as well. And I think Glory needs to get more fans, more people in seats, more viewers. If they want to grow as the worldwide kickboxing organization, I think this is the kind of guy who's a great addition to the Glory roster. And besides that, I mean, the middleweight division hasn't been that stacked in the later years. Obviously, they have an amazing champion. They have Donovan Wisse, who's going to fight Sergey Brown at Glory 96. But he's so good that the rest of the division looks kind of, well, still good, but there is a gap. Just a little bit like heavyweight. Rico Verhoeven is so good that there is a gap between the champion and the other fighters at the moment. I'm just saying at the moment because everything can happen. I'm still looking forward to the fight between him and a possible match with either Levi Rigters, Bahram Rajabzadeh, or obviously Plazibat, because he hasn't fought these guys in a full title defense yet. And these guys pose probably the biggest threat that he hasn't faced yet. Talking about heavyweight, obviously there was a heavyweight fight at this card. And there was none other than Big Sexy Nico Pereira Horta. He faced the Frenchman Soufiane Laidouni. And to be honest, Bjarne and I really thought like Big Sexy is the kind of guy you really want him to win. But he is not the most technical fighter in my opinion. But he gives so much pressure. I really thought that Soufiane could handle the pressure, but he didn't. He just folded. He even almost got knocked down by Big Sexy. I mean, I was so impressed. I really look forward to see him more often in the Glory ring. I mean, the heavyweight division is in desperate need of new talent, and I think this guy is a well addition to this division. So I can't wait what's next for him. And again, Glory 94 was a great event. The stadium was sold out. It was packed. The crowd was amazing. They were livid. They were enthusiastic. Every punch, kick, knee, they were screaming their lungs out, and they were supporting their fighters. It was amazing. I really enjoyed this event, and I can't wait for the next Glory event. Obviously, Glory 95 in Croatia, with a headliner between Levi Rigters and Bahram Rajabzadeh. Before I let you guys go, I just want to say one thing, and that's Koki Osaki. He fought in Rise last weekend and he defeated his opponent in spectacular way. I mean, we're talking about Glory so much that we almost forget there are more organizations than just Glory, but Rise has been putting on very good events, like steadily high-level events with one of the best fighters in Koki Osaki. I think maybe next week there's gonna be Rise World Series with fighters like Chad Collins. There's a title fight between the talented Shiro and Toki Tamaru. This fight has been happened before, but it had to end early because of a cut, came non-contest. So this is gonna be a great fight because these are two of the very best. And I mean, if you like kickboxing, just go watch more than just Glory. Go watch Rise, go watch K1, go watch One Championship, go watch everything you can find on kickboxing because it's just the best combat sports there is, in my opinion. Thank you for watching, and if you like this, if you liked this video, just let me know in the comments and maybe I'll make more.